Woo.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Infernal Brotherhood of Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders Star Wars The Clone Wars episode review. Today we're discussing Season 1, Episode 10. Sorry, I almost said 12. Lair of Grievous.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a fun one. It's like a horror movie. It's like Event Horizon, but Star Wars. And not as long.
Not as
Or scary.
gory sexual either.
I mean, his eyes kind of, like his eye sockets kind of look like vaginas.
Oh, dude.
I mean, I'm not going to lie.
We are.
A little flustered.
This was great. So the entire setup is Grievous is unhappy. I'm sorry. Count Dooku is unhappy with Grievous's inability to seemingly really take ground in this war, and so Darth Sidious is making him, prove himself. And Dooku figures the best way to do that is to kind of set a trap for for Grievous, which is very surprising, and in his own home, nonetheless.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Pretty sly, and I have to say, I love me some Lair of Grievous. Like the show is great, but like his actual lair is super bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, this isn't the only time we see it in the series, right?
I don't think so, but it's still.
Okay.
It's
just so fucking cool.
And so, essentially, Jedi Master Kit Fisto meets his former Padawan, now Jedi Knight, Nadar Veb.
Good job.
A Monkal species. And they, like, together with, I don't know, maybe a squad, maybe two squads of clone soldiers go in, presumably to pick up Newt Gunray, who they were tricked into believing was actually here. They didn't know where here was until they get inside, realize Newt Gunray is not actually there, and they're sitting in the lair of General Grievous when Count Dooku literally straight up says, "You are in Grievous's home, and he's coming home."
Can I bitch about something really quick?
Yeah.
I'll give Nadar Veb a pass. See, he just barely became a knight. So he's cocky, his mind's clouded, whatever. But Kit Fisto is a Jedi Master. You think he would be able to feel the force presence of a flesh and bone, assuming he's got bones, being. How the fuck did he get confused? But okay, go ahead. I just wanted to get that.
It is interesting because, like, I sometimes wonder about that because it seems like it's a convenient trope. When it's convenient in the films and stuff, there's like exterior scanners where they're like, "Oh, scan the ship. Let's see if there's life forces." But for it's all totally dependent on the setup of the narrative,
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. I mean, I could see in the books they would definitely dive into that, where he was a little confused that he was getting and maybe that is why he's a little more hesitant, and maybe that's why he sends R6 off initially instead of the way it ends up being. And that would probably be a more interesting setup anyway, because then you're actually giving weight to Kit Fisto as a character,
Yeah. Okay, I'll accept that.
Either way.
Okay.
So they lay an ambush for Grievous, who almost falls into that trap, like almost gets caught. And that was the best part of it, because they just, there's this moment where they're all in contention. They had like grappling hooks, embedded into his legs, and they cut his legs off and he's crawling around. And then the tables turn. And it's just like one by one, everyone who survives realizes why he is General Grievous.
Yeah.
And I thought the real strength of this was giving a little bit of glimpse into the character of Grievous, that he's not just a droid.
Yeah, well, and it's nice because we get these little snippets of the man, I guess, behind the droid. And yeah, it's great. Every time we get an episode that's centered around him, they give us just a little bit more of his personality, a little bit more of his backstory, just enough to keep it going and make him even more of a badass. Like, I do not submit. I chose this.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, we saw these little statue rooms of various degrees of him turning from warrior alien to warrior droid. And to have that finally revealed that he didn't lose those limbs in battle, he chose to use them because they're superior methods of murder. And, it's this is all like he literally transitioned into what he perceived as the greatest killing machine. And for all intents and purposes, he done did right. Like,
yeah, he's not wrong.
he really whipped that ass on virtually every single person that he comes across, which is pretty damn cool if you ask me. And so he sort of escapes this trap and tries to, get his body put back together. And we're introduced to probably the greatest droid doctor of all of time.
Yeah.
Like, the attitude that this damn droid has is just brilliant. Who does he remind you of, the droid?
Oh, well, fuck, now that I'm on the spot, I don't know.
I could not stop thinking of Paul Lind.
Okay.
The whole time. Like, sometimes the voice was more Paul Lind than others. But, like, the whole thing was just like, I couldn't help. If I could do a Paul Lind accent, that sort of, that cheeky, oh, really? Like, it was just him. That was the droid. He was just totally fucking with Grievous, complaining that he had to do this single job that he's put here to do. I have other things to do. It was so great. I loved seeing that. And Grievous didn't punish him, didn't talk down to him. He just accepted this is this droid's opinion or behavior, and he's going to fix me, so I'm just going to put up with it because that's what, that's how
that's what you do.
So great. I loved it so much. I think maybe I like that droid more than the new droids we have in movies. Like, just that one little cameo of that doctor. I had so much fun watching him. I don't know why, but...
Well, it's because he's got, like, an actual personality. I mean, yeah, BB-8 has personality, R2 has personality, but...
This guy was a smart ass.
Just fucking oozes personality.
He had personality with a fucking cherry on top. It was great. Just great. And so as soon as Grievous gets put back together, he really turns the tables on the invading party and sets booby traps for them, or unveils booby traps for him, and even unleashes his own creature.
Yes, the Rogwarts.
And here's the other thing I really wanted to note about this. And we've mentioned it before, I think, in some other context. I love Star Wars because no matter the creature, the individual who is tasked with caring for that creature genuinely cares about that creature.
Yeah.
The Rancor's keeper cried when he died.
He had her since she was a baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Grievous was genuinely pissed. He's just like, what?
And he even identifies as a droid. It's like, you shouldn't have feelings for a biological being as a droid. So that was pretty cool.
Pet. It's his pet. What are you gonna do? It's your pet. You love your pets.
Pets. I mean, most of the
time. And ultimately, Grievous takes down every single person. And I thought it was really interesting seeing what a pre-galactic war Jedi Knight, Kit Fisto, how his I'm trying to think of the right word. Just the tone of him as a character compared to the Jedi Knight who became a Jedi Knight through war, through the Galactic War. Like, that I thought was an interesting juxtaposition between a wartime Jedi and a pre-war Jedi, where in war you're literally forced to do things that are against the Jedi code in circumstances, and even though ultimately you don't really have to do them, for the greater good as they perceive it in the moment, they do it. And then, they're seen poorly for having done it, or they reflect poorly on themselves after they've done it. And I think it's a really interesting way to look at Jedi as individuals who are a part of an order that instead of being able to embody, they aspire to. And I think there's a realistic tone to that versus what we were presented with originally, where we were presented with fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is probably
they
the
were
best goddamn
monks.
Jedi of the world. And so that's who we thought all Jedi were,
Yeah.
you know? And then we were presented with, excuse me, Anakin, and we were like, oh yeah, but he's just a shitheel who just likes to kill people because he's going to be Darth Vader eventually.
Yeah.
And through shows like this, we're shown that no, like everyone struggles with this. This is not an easy life.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. It does definitely show that he's a product of his time.
Yeah.
Not just circumstance.
I think I was looking for demeanor, but there's another word that is going to haunt me until I can find it in my head. Okay, and then ultimately, Kit Fisto is the only one that escapes. But I don't feel like he proved himself as a Jedi Master. Like he didn't run away out of defeat.
Oh no!
He just
stood
realized
there
he
and
couldn't
fought
win
with them. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and check out. See you turds later.
What did you think about the seeming, like, Kit Fisto only really cared about the clone deaths after they were first attacked. Once the table turned and insistence of survival became a real issue, did he sort of forsake the clones and not even think twice about them? He was just trying to think of getting the hell out of there or getting his Padawan to help him, defeat Grievous together. What did you think about that turn of his attentions from caring for the soldiers to just focusing on getting out?
Well, I mean, his hands were pretty much dealt to him. Everybody was dead. And then it was like, oh shit, well, I guess it's time to check out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like he flipped a switch and was like, all right, fuck these guys. They're, trained warriors. They can fend for themselves. It was, oh, well, I just watched, my squad die. All right, I guess I probably shouldn't die either.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part of this episode?
I honestly got to say probably the final battle, and not even necessarily the final battle, just the smirk on his face when he's like, oh, hey, there's R6. Yep, I'm leaving. Bye, guys.
Stop him.
Yeah, that was... It's always great to see, big lightsaber battles that aren't necessarily standard fair lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
Anytime we get something with Grievous, it's great because it's a billion fucking lightsabers against one dude with one saber. And then as soon as he grabs that second one, it's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll try it. And just owns his ass.
I really did feel like they brought the horror. And I've been saying this throughout the first season so far, every time we get to see Grievous on screen, but they really brought the strength and horror of this character to the forefront.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's being demeaned by Sith masters. Okay, I get that. They're Sith masters, but he's going toes with Jedi masters. He's going toes with them. And in most cases, coming out on top. So you can't fault this character for, or see him as anything less than a masterful warrior.
Yeah, it'd be a disservice to his character if you said anything other.
Yeah. So I think my favorite part has got to be that droid. I can't get over it. I just see Paul Lynde in him, and it makes me just love him so much. I need to find a toy of that damn droid.
No, the more you say it, the more I definitely see it.
If you get a chance to skim back to the first time you see him and he comes in, just listen to the accent. Maybe it's just in my head, but it really did sound like him at first. I was just like, what the fuck? Is this I Dream of Genie? Like, what is happening?
Well, maybe they got him to come back and make a cameo from the grave, or from beyond the grave.
It could happen.
Yeah, he's only been dead for
Mother Townsend's not dead yet.
What,
she could bring him.
Years? That is true.
Damn it. I will miss you, Paul. All right. Well, that's all I had. Is there anything else you want to talk about with this?
Nah, I think we got it. It's a fun one. Watch the damn thing.
Yeah, this is a great episode. And this just cements the wonderful storytelling that's going on here. It's going from, connective story to connective story with this through line of the greater war, but we're getting to know a lot more about the Jedi Order, about the Separatist movement, about the infighting of the Separatists and the Dark Lords of the Sith that are, moving them throughout the galaxy, as it were. I just, I'm loving this. I'm having a lot of fun with this damn series.
Well, one nice thing the thing that I was going to bring up and then I forgot until you started talking is if you guys aren't watching this like on physical media, you're doing yourself a disservice because they like episodes like this, they actually added deleted scenes back into it. Like this one, it was just solely time constraints. So if you're not watching it on Blu-ray or DVD, we probably actually watched separate episodes.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, because every now and then you'll be skimming through the episode thing, the page, and you'll see something with a little clacker next to it, and yeah, that's director's cut.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised when you text me like, "Hey, I'm done." I'm like, "You're done? That's not that long."
Man, what a jip.
I know it's bullshit for you, not for me though.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode review. Hope you guys liked it. And if you saw this episode, what did you think? You know, did we live up to the hype in our explanations, or did we forget maybe your favorite part? Let us know in the comments. Like and share these videos. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next week, until we can do another Star Wars Clone Wars review, may the Force be with you.
Doesn't smell like droids to me.
Princess Mimi. Princess Mimi.